So good morning, all of you guys. Am I audible to you? Am I audible and visible clearly to you? Please respond through the chat box at least. So 72 members joined the class. Shall I wait for more 5 minutes? It's already 10:35. I'll put a message in the class group. The meanwhile. That's fine. Okay, welcome back to the GPS class. So we have been studying about the differential GPS, various types of differential GPS developed, that is space-based augmentation systems and ground-based augmentation systems we studied already. And after that, there is a geo uplink subsystem, GUS is that we are studying now. So before that, let me share the today's presentation. So this is visible, right? Okay. So after this LORAN-C, that is long range navigation, we have begun with the geo uplink subsystem. Let me have a quick revision of this thing, whatever we have studied in the previous class. So this is a geo uplink subsystem. So what is its function? Its function is, the name itself indicates it is a GEO uplink subsystem, that is ground uplink system or geo uplink system, we can call this as. So the corrections that are obtained from the wide area master station are sent to the ground uplink subsystem for uplink to the geosatellite. So in our differential GPS concept, there is a geostationary satellite which will communicate to the end user, and from the end, of course, to the end user and to the wide area master station or the master control station, whichever we call in our general GPS terminology. So the data are to be sent to the end user, and for that purpose we are using a geo satellite, and using this ground uplink subsystem we are sending this WMS data to the geostation, that is we are uplinking it. For that purpose we are using a separate setup that is called as a ground uplink subsystem. For that purpose we are using a ground uplink subsystem. So what are the functions of this? It receives the integrity and correction data and VAS specific messages from the wide area master station, and add some FEC encoding, that is forward error correction encoding, if at all there are any errors in that, and transmits the message to the geo satellites using a C-band uplink. that is for the broadcast to the VAS end user. And this will use a data rate of 250 bits per second at a symbol rate, at a rate of 500 symbols per second, in contradiction to the 50 bits per second by the normal GPS modulation technique. Just have to have a comparison. Of course, the symbol is using a C/A code with 1.0232 to the power of 6 chips per second, a pseudo-random noise sequence, and to provide a spread spectrum signal. And it is using the C-band frequency, that is 4 to 8 gigahertz, and uplink it to the geo satellite. And the C/A code modulation will provide the ranging capability if its phase is properly controlled. Of course, all these things we have studied yesterday. And control of the carrier frequency and phase is also required to eliminate the uplink Doppler. If there is any Doppler shift is there in the uplink or downlink, then we need the carrier frequency and phase errors to be corrected to maintain the coherence. And it also monitors the C-band and L1 downlinks from the geo to the geo to provide the closed loop control of the pseudo-random noise code and the L1 carrier coherency. And this is the geo uplink subsystem block diagram. This is GUS control loop block diagram. All of you please draw this before we move to the next slide. All of you draw this diagram. Am I audible clearly? Okay, please draw this diagram. This is very, very important. This is the geo uplink subsystem block diagram. This is the control loop. So wherein we are using a mixer, it's a mixer or summer, which will get the correction data from the three types of sources, that is ionospheric delay and rate estimator. That is VAS GPS receiver will give the pseudo range as the input, and geo uplink subsystem signal generator will give the VAS pseudo range, which will take the initialization from the ephemeris data. And of course, the frequency control loop will provide the control bit, and the code control loop will provide the control information. And geostationary satellite will give the L1 and or that is downlink frequency to the VAS GPS receiver, and this will provide the pseudo range data to this. And of course, this will also give the information to the ionospheric delay rate estimator, and by taking these inputs, this will produce the ionospheric delay estimation as the output, which will be given to the mixer again. And after mixing all these three, this will provide the actual pseudo range measurement to the range rate acceleration estimator. And range rate residual, if there is any residue, that is any correction, then that will again be sent to the code control loop, which will again sending it to the GUS signal generator. This is a cyclic procedure. So this is ionospheric delay estimation is done here, and the same, of course, range and rate estimate will be given to the frequency control loop. Range and rate estimates will be fed to the frequency control loop. Range and rate residue is fed to the control loop, and these two will be serving the GUS signal generator, which will provide a adequate VAS pseudo range. Of course, these all are estimated in the mixer, and the residue will be taken as the range measurement. I will wait for more 1 minute. After completely drawing the diagram, please remind me through chat box or by raising the hand. As of now, I have muted you all. If at all any doubt, any query to speak, you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you and you may be talking to me. Or you may ask a question through chat box also. Is it done, guys? Hello? Is this done? Say yes or no. Have you drawn the diagram, block diagram? Only 16 UQ 492 is responding all the time. Remaining students? Hello? Okay, right. The next important one is the orbit determination of the GEO satellite. So to determine the orbit for the geostationary satellite, we are using a separate algorithm for that we will understand it now. So the purpose of the wide area augmentation system is to provide the pseudo range and the ionospheric corrections. This is the main purpose, as you have been studying from our unit 4 beginning. So pseudo range corrections and also the to provide the pseudo range and to make the ionospheric corrections if any for a GPS satellite. This is to improve the accuracy of the GPS navigation and to protect the user with the integrity. To protect the user with the integrity. So please make a note of this point. So what do you mean integrity? The integrity is the ability to provide the timely warnings to the user whenever any navigation parameters estimated using the system are outside the tolerance limits. See, there is ionospheric delay error, there is a clock error, there is a ephemeris error. For all these, there is a tolerance limit. If the range estimated is beyond or outside this tolerance limit, we have to provide an alert. We have to provide an alert system to the end user so that he can deny those values. And this is called as the integrity. So once again, I repeat, the integrity is the ability to provide the timely warnings to the user whenever any navigation parameters estimated using the system are outside the tolerance limits. If they are outside the tolerance limits, then we will give a warning to the GPS user. Otherwise, the entire process will be going vain. Of course, in addition to this, the wide area augmentation system will also augment the GPS constellation by providing additional ranging sources using the geosatellites that are being used to broadcast the VAS signal. See how fun it is. VAS system is developed for the differential corrections, of the end user. In addition, it is also augmenting the GPS constellation. GPS constellation means GPS satellites. If they are not providing, if the health of any GPS satellite is damaged, then that will be intimated. And that will be corrected. And its clock also sometimes will be corrected by the clock steering algorithm, which we are going to study in our next, in a couple of minutes. Is this clear? Is this clear or any doubts? Okay. So here, this is the, yesterday I think you have already drawn this block diagram, that is GUS clock steering. How do we correct the clock errors? So wide area master station will give the VAS message, and that VAS message will be the input for the GUS processor. So this line, continuous line, indicating the data flow. The dotted line indicating the synchronization between the each block, that is initial time sync, and this broader line is the clock steering control flow. How the clock is steering that control flow. So try to understand this. So the GUS processor will produce the two outputs: any clock error or any error in the message, that is cyclic redundancy check will be done, that is rapid VAS message, and that will be the inputs for the VAS message processor. So taking these inputs, this processor will do the corrections, if at all any suggested by the Arrhenius data. Then from there, it will give the inputs for the clock correction to the cesium frequency standard. So cesium frequency standard is it's like a clock. Frequency increases, frequency decreases, and which will produce an output of 5 megahertz, and that will be input to the phase noise enhancer, which will double the frequency from 5 to 10, and that will be given to the GS receiver. That also will be given to the signal generator. Okay, and the GUS receiver will make the necessary corrections and will provide it to the VAS message processor. And GUS receiver will take the inputs from the antenna of the GPS and GEO. Both data should be taken as the inputs by the GUS receiver, so that it will take the data from the antenna of the GPS receiver as well as the geosatellite receiver, and the data will be sent to the GUS processor, any corrections, and that will be processed here by the GS processor and will produce the two types of errors which are sent to the VAS message processor, and the same process will be repeating. And this is the backup of the GS clock steering. How do we account for the corrections? Okay, then the geo orbit determination, majorly that will take the two parameters into consideration. So we already knew this. One is the UDRE, stands for the user differential ranging error for pseudo range corrections. So this parameter is used for the pseudo range corrections. If there are any errors or there are any corrections required in the pseudo range measurement, then we will use this as the parameter, user differential ranging error. And second one is the grid ionospheric vertical error. This is the for ionospheric corrections. If the RF signal propagating through the ionosphere will result in any errors, then these errors will be corrected by using this parameter that is called as GIV in short. UDRE and GIV. Remember these two, very, very important. And these are estimated with some limits. These are estimated with limits. And where these limits are present, they are present on board with the navigation system. And one limit is the horizontal protection limit, and another limit is the vertical protection limit. Of course, you can understand in horizontal how much error may be tolerated, in vertical direction how much error may be tolerated. These are given by the limits. One is the horizontal protection error limit and another one is the vertical protection limit. So if it is beyond HPL, then horizontal alert limit will be given. If it is beyond VPL, then vertical alert limit will be given. So these requirements for the particular phase of flight will be involved. That is oceanic, remote, en route, terminal, non-Parisian approach and Parisian approach. So if these are beyond the limits, if the estimated protection limits are greater than the alert limits, the navigation system is declared unavailable. So this point is highlighted. So if the estimated protection limits are greater than the alert limits, so there are some alert limits, horizontal alert limit and vertical alert limit. If the estimated protection limits are greater than these limits, then the navigation system is declared unavailable. That means it is not available. That means it is some erroneous data we received. That is the user differential ranging error and grid ionospheric vertical error values obtained by the WAS will determine the degree of availability of the wide area differential GPS navigation service to the user. So they will determine the degree of availability. If this alert limits are, if these estimated protection limits are greater than the alert limits, then it is unavailable. If they are within these limits, then it is available. So the availability will be estimated by the UDRE and Q. So very frequently asked question on this. Make a note of this. Next, the WAS algorithms will also calculate the broadcast corrections and the corresponding user differential ranging errors and grid ionospheric vertical errors by processing the satellite signals received by the network of the ground stations. So what they do, they process the satellite signals. They process the satellite signals received by the network of the ground stations. Of course, we are using some reference stations in our differential GPS concept. So network, the ground stations will send the data. Therefore, the expected values of the UDRE and GIU are dependent on what? Are dependent on the satellite and station geometries, satellite geometry as well as the station geometry, satellite signal and clock performance, receivers performance, of course, environmental conditions like ionospheric storms or multipath propagation by the signal, and also the algorithm design. So how best the algorithm is implemented. Of course, for this purpose, we will use the MATLAB most of the times, and how best the algorithm is designed to estimate these errors. How best the algorithm is designed to estimate this. So these are the influencing parameters. These are the influencing parameters. Once again, I repeat, the expected values for UDREs and GIVEs are dependent on satellite and station geometries, satellite signal and clock performance, receivers performance, environmental conditions, and algorithm design. So this may be asked as short answer question. This is also important. Now, for the orbit determination purpose, there is a covariance analysis method is used. A covariance analysis method is used in the algorithm. So in detail of that is given as an appendix. I'll provide the PDF of that. Just to understand what is the covariance analysis, we'll just discuss the minimal things here. Okay. So it will use 3 types of Kalman filters. This is also asked, very frequently asked in the short answer questions. So what are the Kalman filters used by the WAS algorithm? Are you getting me, guys? Hello, are you getting me? So this is very important question, very frequently asked. What are the 3 Kalman filters that are used by the WAS algorithm in the covariance analysis of the orbit determination? So first one is an orbit determination filter. Second one is an ionospheric corrections filter. And the third one is a fast corrections filter. First one is an orbit determination filter. Second one is an ionospheric corrections filter. And the third one is a a fast corrections filter. These are the three filters, three Kalman filters. These three are the Kalman filters that are used in the VAS algorithm. So how the covariance analysis is done, it is given in the appendix. The fast corrections filter is a Kalman filter that estimates the GEO, GPS and ground station clock states for every second. So what this fast corrections filter does is, am I audible to you? And the screen is visible? Hello? Am I audible and the screen is visible? Please respond, guys. Am I audible, guys? Okay, now I will share the screen once again. There is a network issue, small network issue. Is the screen visible to you now? Is the screen visible to you now? Hello? Is the screen visible now? Please respond, guys, somebody, for me to proceed. Hello? Am I audible now? Okay, I'm audible and screen is also visible to you, I think. Is the screen visible and audible? Okay, right. Now we are connected. So fast corrections filter is a Kalman filter that will estimate the geo, GPS and ground station clock states. So clock state of not only the geo satellite, but also the GPS satellite and also the ground station clock and also the ground station clocks. So here an estimated lower bound of the GEO, user differential range error, for a VAS algorithm that can please respond, guys. Have you drawn the diagram? Right. So let us understand how the integration architecture is built or designed. So we have GPS on one side and on the other side we have INS. INS is the inertial navigation system and GPS is the global positioning system. So global position system will use a RF signal and it will use a simple distance estimation using the simple mathematical formula. Distance is equal to speed into time. So time will be calculated for the time of travel of the RF signal. Of course, all that procedure we know. And this inertial navigation system will use an inertial measurement unit. IMU stands for the inertial measurement unit, and whose output is given as the input for the navigation processor. This navigation processor will produce the INS position and attitude. So attitude is not height, it is the rate of change of acceleration, rate of change of acceleration of the end user. Of course, the same information is also provided by the GPS system. The same information is also provided by the GPS system in terms of its longitudes, latitudes, and attitude, rate of attitudes. These two are given to a mixer. These two are given to a mixer. If these two are of same value, then resulting error will be zero. The output of the mixer will be zero. There is no difference. If there is any error, if there is any difference between those two values, then that navigation Kalman filter will correct them. The navigation Kalman filter will correct them, and estimated position and attitude will be the output. Estimated position and attitude will be the output. But this is a continuous process. This is a continuous process. This is to be corrected all the time with the GPS values, so that position and attitude correction is given to the navigation processor. Accelerometer and gyro bias corrections are given to the inertial measurement unit. The outputs of the navigation filter is actually the actual estimated position and attitude. This is divided into two blocks. One is position and attitude correction, which will be supplied to the navigation processor for further mixing and correcting, and accelerometer and gyro bias corrections are given to the initial measurement unit to produce a proper input to the navigation processor, to provide a proper input to the navigation processor. And this is a system level view of the integration of the GPS and the INS. So detailed version of the INS is not required here, because it is been not used many of the times. It is out of the syllabus also. So, but to integrate GPS and INS, we use these type of two architectures. One is the tightly coupled and another one is the loosely coupled, which will use the Kalman filtering most of the times. So navigation Kalman filter is used here. So understood, guys? Any doubts? Do you have any doubts? So with this unit 4 gets completed. With this unit 4 gets completed. And let us have a look into the syllabus for the unit 5. How much time is left? We are left with more 6 minutes. Let me share the syllabus copy. Able to view the screen? Are you able to view the screen? Hello guys, are you able to view the screen? I shared the syllabus copy. So unit 1 completed, unit 2, 3, 4 is also completed with the GPS INS integration architectures. And we are left with the GPS applications. In fact, we have been studying many of these applications from unit 1 onwards. Of course, an outline of the GPS applications is already given in the unit 1, that is in aviation applications, many of the times in marine applications, and of course, the land to provide the intelligent transport system, ITS, intelligent transport system, ITS. And for surveying purpose also, this GPS is used by the in the name of mapping and GIS system, that is geographical information system, by the civil engineers. So this GIS is a technique of the civil engineers. Of course, many of them we have studied. Just we will revise them in our next week 3 classes, and we will complete the syllabus. And before that, today I will share the assignment questions for the second mid, that is assignment 3 questions from unit 3, second half of unit 3 and unit 4 questions. So mostly the most frequently asked questions I am giving as the assignment. Please try to answer them on time and submit to me. Is this clear? Anything else to discuss? Hello. Hello guys. Is there anything else to discuss? So as you are in 4th year second semester, don't think about the things happening in and around in the state. So irrespective of all of them, you will be promoted on time and you will be graduated on time. So don't underestimate the things, your exams. And I think in this week, your first reviews are scheduled, project reviews. Is that? I think the authenticated information from the HOD sir is that the project reviews are scheduled in this semester, sorry, in this week, the first project reviews. So prepare well for that and give your presentations on time in a nice manner. So we will revise the applications of the GPS in detail in our next class mostly. For this exclusively for the unit 5, the second textbook is preferable. So understanding the GPS principles and applications. So most of the applications in detail are given in the second textbook, that is reference book by E.D. Kaplan and Christopher J. Haggerty. The title is Understanding GPS Principles and Applications. Rest of the all 4 units are present in textbook 1. Of course, applications are also given in the textbook 1, but a detailed version of them is given in the reference book, that is Understanding GPS Principles and Applications. I think the 2 textbooks I already shared with you, including the previous questions. I'll wait for more 2 minutes for any doubts. You may raise hand or you can text in the chat box. Message in the chat box. No message in the chat box. Nobody raised their hand. So I'm stopping the class for today, and we'll meet in the next class to study the GPS applications. Thank you, one and all.